Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the 1972 Andes flight disaster. We're going to look at exactly how a completely routine trip transformed into one of the most intense, chilling, and frankly unbelievable survival stories in human history.
I mean, imagine this scenario for a second. What actually happens when you're trapped at 11,000 feet and the world simply decides you're already dead? It's a completely mind-bending concept, right? We're going to trace the terrifying journey of a group pushed way past the absolute limits of human endurance and sheer willpower. Keep that impossible situation in the back of your mind as we go through this.
Part 1. A routine flight.
To really grasp the scale of this nightmare, we got to start right at the beginning. 45. That's the number of people on board Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 on October 12, 1972. And this wasn't just a plane full of random strangers. You've got a young rugby team, the Old Christians Club, heading to Chile, along with their friends, family members, and a crew of 5.
And the atmosphere inside that cabin, before the crash, it's just laughter, right? Guys playing cards, sharing food, totally excited for the trip. But in an instant, that joyful vibe is going to be violently swapped out for absolute silence, just the howling wind and merciless freezing temperatures. Obviously, none of them had a clue what they were flying into.
Which brings us to the fatal error.
So how does a modern plane just crash into a mountain? Well, it was a deadly trifecta. First, massive cloud cover completely strips away all visibility. The pilots are flying blind. Second, and this is kind of the hidden killer here, strong, totally unexpected headwinds seriously slowed the plane down. So step 3, because of that delay, the pilots wrongly assumed they had already cleared the highest peaks of the Andes, and they initiated a premature descent.
Suddenly, the clouds part, and boom, solid rock walls right in front of them. The pilots pull up, but it's way too late. The aircraft just violently tears apart. The right wing slams into the rock, the left wing breaks off, the tail completely separates, and the main cabin, it basically turns into a giant, uncontrollable metal sled, rocketing down the side of a mountain at terrifying speeds.
The glacier.
The twisted remains of the plane finally slam into a snow-covered glacier. Tragically, out of the 45 people on board, 12 people lost their lives almost instantly during the crash, or just hours after. For the survivors, wandering around the wreckage, the shock is literally unimaginable.
And look at where they are trapped, 11,000 feet. To put that into perspective, you're over 2 miles high in the sky. There are no roads, there are no towns, there's no working radio to call for help. They are completely, totally isolated in a frozen wasteland.
The brutal reality sets in incredibly fast. We're talking severe, life-threatening injuries here. Broken legs, fractured ribs, extreme head trauma, and the freezing night temperatures. They're forced to build this makeshift shelter, literally cramming suitcases and chunks of debris into the open ends of the plane just to block the wind. I mean, it was so profoundly cold that ice crystals were forming with every single breath they took.
The invisible wreckage.
Now, down below, search operations absolutely launched, but it created this heartbreaking rescue paradox. From the searcher's view up above, that white fuselage is perfectly seamlessly camouflaged against endless white snow. But from the survivor's view down on the glacier, they're literally watching rescue planes fly directly overhead. They can see them, but the pilots cannot see the wreckage. And as the days drag on, those search planes start vanishing. Meanwhile, their dwindling supplies are just grim. A few chocolate bars, some tiny bottles of wine, a handful of snacks. That is it, for dozens of people. As they stretch out those minuscule rations, agonizing hunger starts replacing the sheer terror of the initial crash.
Then, we hit the turning point.
Think about this timeline. October 12, they depart. October 13, they crash. Days and days go by, freezing, starving, constantly waiting for a rescue they believe is imminent. And then somebody finally manages to get a busted radio working, and they catch a faint news broadcast.
And I hear this quote, "The official search has been called off." Authorities just assumed no one could survive those elements. Can you imagine? They're all huddled around this crackling little radio, essentially listening to the world announce their very own funeral.
The psychological impact of that is just crushing. To the outside world, everyone on Flight 571 was presumed dead. Rescue was no longer coming. Period. That hope they'd been desperately clinging to, instantly gone. They were entirely on their own. So I'll leave you with this as we wrap up this explainer.
If absolutely no rescue is coming and the world has officially declared you dead, how do you save yourself? How do you find a way to walk out of the Andes with zero supplies? It's a terrifying question, and it really forces us to confront exactly what human beings are capable of when every other option disappears. Really makes you wonder what you do, doesn't it?